That voice right there is our next guest. I literally decided to become a lawyer at 7 years of age because the police came and got my father. That's the voice of our next guest, Terrinee Gundy, who's here with us, and she's the author of the best-selling memoir, The Daughter of a Junkie, A True Love Story. Her life is something that I think a lot of us could potentially relate to. I know I've had people in my family who had addictions, who suffered from addictions, and it became sometimes when you around that and people in my environment, it becomes a way of life, and it kind of feel like it's the norm. So when you step outside of your environment and you telling these stories, it surprises you that everybody else can't relate to it. Well, she put her story in a memoir, and wait till you find out what she was able to do in her environment. Please welcome her to the show, the one and only Terrinee Gundy. Judge Terrinee Gundy.
Good morning.
JTG.
Hey.
Oh, I like that.
JTG. Oh, my gosh, man. Terrinee, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Yes.
Well,
thank you so much.
Well, a good friend of mine called me and said, hey, I got to send you this book. We went through everything to get this book to me, but I was on the road, and it was called A Daughter of a Junkie. And she's like, you got to know this person. She's a judge now. She went to Clark University. She went to Georgia. She's done all of these amazing things, but she grew up with a father who was addicted to crack cocaine.
Yes.
Right? And
absolutely.
So I would love for you to tell us your story. What was that like growing up? What was your family base like?
So my father has smoked crack cocaine since 1978. A lot of people,
they had crack in 78?
They did. And to your point, a lot of people didn't know that.
Okay.
And, they called it freebasing.
Yes.
And so my father is adamant that it didn't become popular culture until Richard Pryor set himself on fire. That's really when, most of America became aware of crack cocaine. And then, of course, it started decimating our communities. And so for me, as long as I can remember, I have been the daughter of a junkie. But I grew up with myself and my sister, and in our community, we're from Duval, the poorest zip code in the state of Florida. And so in my community, and as many communities go in the ghetto, they tease you about anything and everything. And so that was literally the only thing they had on us.
Yeah. What's that your father was? But the only thing was kind of a huge thing, though. Right?
Kind of. But to your point, in my neighborhood, it was very common.
Okay.
But you know how kids can be very unfair, and even some adults. And they were trying to make us pay for the sins of my father. And as a child, I knew that was wrong. And so I just took it away. We took it from them. And so I would introduce myself. I would say, hey, Sway, I'm Terrinee, the daughter of a junkie. Now what do you have?
At what age did you start introducing yourself as the daughter of a junkie?
As long as I can remember. I was a child, probably 7, 8 years old. If you know me, you know that is a part of my story. I've been unapologetic about it my entire life. Because, yes, my father is a junkie, but he is still my father. Yeah. I love him. He's my junkie. And you're not going to make me ashamed of that. You're not going to make me feel like I did something wrong. I'm a child. And so I just have never been comfortable with that. And to your point, when I started sharing my story, I didn't realize how many people were suffering in silence. There were so many people who were afraid to say that they are children of junkies. And I don't understand why culture or our communities would have done that to us, but they did. And so I have been very adamant about making sure not just the adults who are living with the inner child from the crack cocaine era, but the current children who still live in that environment are not ashamed of our loved ones. Yeah. It's a disease.
It's a disease, right?
They need help.
They need help. I'm imagining you. Terrinee Gundy is here. She's the author of the book, The Daughter of a Junkie.
A true love story.
A true love story.
Very
why was that important for you to add that, a true love story?
It was very important to me because I am not, I guess, it does not fall light on me that I do not have the typical story that everyone is aware of. Because we hear about addicts and their stories and abandonment and abuse and neglect. And sure, the daughter of a junkie, I've had my array of what we would call neglect, but I've never been abused. My father's never been verbally or physically abusive towards me.
Okay.
He has been nothing but an amazing father who showed up when it really mattered at all times. So you said I went to Clark Atlanta University. My father took me to school.
He
paid $3,000. People find this hard to believe that the junkie, and he's a bona fide junkie, came up with $3,000 for me to get into school. He paid my rent while I was in law school the entire time. He would pay it up for the year and then go missing. So I have had a father who has always shown up for me, and we have this picture of addicts and what that life looks like. And I'm not, again, dismissing that at all.
Yeah.
But it's just not my story. And I wanted people to know that there is a different face. And just because our families, our fathers, our mothers have addiction problems, it does not mean that they do not care. They do not love us. They are still very loving parents. And I wanted the world to know that I love them back and appreciate all of the sacrifices they made for me, even throughout their own struggles and shortcomings.
Where was your mom through this whole time?
My mom was there too as well, and she was not addicted to crack cocaine, but she suffered with drugs as well. So my mom has now been clean for 17 years.
Wow.
Yes, round of applause for that.
Absolutely. As a child, when your mom is suffering from what she was dealing with and your father suffering from addiction too, who were the adults that you could lean on? Who could you go to for comfort and safety?
We didn't have adults in my family like that. Well, I shouldn't say that we didn't have adults. We did. But my sister and I, who is 4 years younger than me, we were so afraid that our families would be torn apart that we did not tell anyone. And so I called that, in the book, I coined us as the core four. My sister and I were only concerned about keeping the core four together. So we protected my parents. So we parented ourselves. We followed their rules. They said, don't do this. We didn't do it. They said, get all A's. We got all A's. You know, they said, don't go outside. We didn't go outside. Like, we were very obedient children because we wanted to make them proud. But we also grew up very fast. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm extraordinary, because in my community, everyone was doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm this wonderful, extraordinary person doing something. I mean, again, to your point, to people who do not deal with the life of addiction, this may sound extraordinary to you. But in Florida, the north side of Duval,
this is the norm.
It's the norm. Children are taking care of themselves.
Wow. What advice, having gone through that as a child, would you give children who are in the same scenario?
Okay, so this is going to sound a little too straightforward, but it's the truth. It's what I believe in my innermost being. Do not pity us. It does not serve us. We do not need your pity. All we need is for you to understand that it does not make us any different than other humans. We are not less than. Again, if I do not show up home, my mama is looking for me, my daddy is looking for me, my grandmother is looking for me. For some reason, it's not just that being the child of an addict, it's being a poor child, being a black child, being a female, that sometimes other communities believe we are not important, but we are. And that is really all that we have fought for, is to be treated with the same amount of respect, love, and grace. But we don't need your pity because we are capable. Everything we need is already inside of us. We have had on-the-day training most of our lives ahead of everyone else. So we are prepared.
I love it. Terrinee Gundy is here, the author of the book, The Daughter of a Junkie, a true love story.
Thank you for that.
A true love story.
Because I love my daddy.
Where is he now?
He is in Jacksonville, Florida, actually listening to us. He is very
He's
proud.
Tuned in right now?
He's tuned in right now.
What's his name?
Anthony Keyball Gundy.
Mr. Gundy, proud to have you tuned in. We should send him a number, have him call in.
Yes, he is about to be 72. I'm not sure that he can move that fast.
Okay. I love that. 888-742-3345.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. thank you for sharing. I do believe that we initially would immediately think, oh my gosh, this is so sad. I'm so sorry. What can I do? What can I do? And hearing you share you and your sister's perspective of it is very enlightening and very inspirational. So I want to say that first. Secondly, thank you for sharing something with me off mic when I said, how long had you been an attorney? And you said, yeah, I'm a judge now. And Sway, had to come back and correct as a judge as well. What is the process? Because I know you were a practicing tax attorney. What is the process of going from attorney to judge, and why did you make that change?
So we started the show with me talking about that I became a lawyer or decided to become a lawyer at 7 because the police came to arrest my father.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that was. I only wanted to be able to help my father.
Right.
Okay. Fast forward 2 years. I'm 9 years old. My neighbor is physically and mentally challenged. He is much older than me, but he's my friend.
Okay.
The police come and arrest him for crimes that I know he's not capable, physically or mentally, of doing. They took him away. He never came back home. So at 9 years old, I didn't understand that. Why was my friend not coming home? And I asked my father, and he said to me, the boy never had a shot because the judge didn't look like us.
Wow.
So at 9 years old,
You hearing this word now, judge.
And so I didn't even know that they were connected or related. All I said to him is, I guess I have to be a judge now too, so that people in our community get a fair shot.
Wow.
Okay.
And so from 7 to 9, I put my life on a trajectory I never altered to become a lawyer and a judge. And I get to get up and do what only 3% out of 8 billion people on the planet get to do. Do something that I love every single day, serving my community in a way that makes me feel proud and honored to serve.
Give that round of applause. Tone, come on.
Sorry.
No, you nailing it.
Wow, come on. No, I just was curious, so thank you.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that question. Thank you for acknowledging. I'm very happy about my 10-year anniversary. It has not been an easy walk, but yet it is a walk that I have enjoyed every step.
You're on the Municipal Court of Atlanta right now?
I am.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
Come
you.
on.
Thank you. I preside over DUI.
Over DUI. True. Good. That's good to know. I know who to call if I get pulled over.
What, for drinking a green juice?
Well, I mean, it's still a DUI. It's a natural stimulant. It might register.
I don't
right?
drink either. You're among good company.
Thank you. See, we got so much in common. Can't wait to commit a crime in your courtroom. Tracy, go ahead.
Terry, you are such a joy. It must be such a blessing to be loved by you because you display such unconditional care for those who are in your circle. And I really want to commend you for that. I think that's something that we all can continue practicing and getting better at. So thank you. Yeah.
And thank you for noticing that. I do love really hard. But my daddy and mommy taught me that.
Yeah. I'm wondering, we often speak about the power of words here, right? And being very intentional about word choices. What made you go with junkie versus saying the daughter of an addict? And also, what would you say to some people who don't want to use the word junkie or addict because they feel like it's negative and it might create a self-fulfilling prophecy, and would prefer to say this person is conquering their challenges, speaking what they want into existence? Could you touch on those?
I would love to. So I'll start with the second question and work my way back. For me, junkie and my family, my sister, my dad, it's not a bad word. It's just the truth. I'm a junkie. I'm an addict. If you ever go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, they start with introducing themselves because the first step to staying clean is admitting you have a problem. And so you have to really be honest with yourself and those that you love around you. But you asked me why I go with that word. I go with what I know. Again, I am unapologetically me. I can't be somebody I'm not. In my community, it was a junkie or a J. Your daddy is a J. Your daddy is a junkie. So I'm not going around, unfortunately, and the people who are dealing with this issue currently or in the past, no one is walking through our community saying they're dealing with something that there's very challenging for them.
Okay.
They're not approaching us that way. And so for me, I wanted to say it and say it unapologetically, but really change the narrative of what you see. Because again, you've put the face on a junkie as something negative. It's a disease. But he's still human. He's still a man. He's still a son. He's still a father. That is what I want you to see when you hear junkie. I don't want you to see what you see in the movies where we've projected that, you know, they abandon us. Like our fathers are there. Our men are here. It's a narrative that's just simply not true. Black men are more involved in their children's lives than any other ethnicity.
Get that a round of applause, Tom.
Absolutely.
Come on.
For black men.
Man? Come on, man. Cloud it louder. I'm a father. We talk about this all the time on this show.
Yeah, we do.
We have tremendous, amazing men who tend to their
fathers.
Amazing men.
Tend to their families, tend to their kids.
Yes. Hands-on. They provide for them and they nurture them. They show up to ball games. They show up to ballet. They show up to cheerleading. They show up to honors day. They show
That's
up
the
and
judge's
take
phone, Sway.
their children
I didn't want to say
to
anything.
college.
Don't get
Yeah,
sentenced.
they take their children to college. Is that your
Judge,
phone?
that's your phone. The alarm
Somebody,
is going off.
I mean, you got to...
Yeah.
Somebody try to get a lesser
The
sentence
jury's
in.
back.
You know, I ain't want to say nothing because I do drink, Your Honor, and I didn't want to be the one to put the eye on me. Yeah, I didn't want to start talking too much. I'm low today. I'm real quiet in this conversation.
Passenger princess, Billy Talk.
Yeah, I'm quiet.
Yo, Mike Muse.
You didn't want to snitch on
I
me.
ain't want to snitch. I ain't snitching. I'm quiet. You would see me riding down Peachtree lit.
You know who to call.
One judge, thank you for sharing your story. It's really impactful. And I never even thought about the idea of, we hear functional alcoholic, but I never thought about functioning junkie. So thank you for bringing that awareness.
Okay, so I don't want to cut you off,
Sure.
so in my family, we also do not say functioning.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes, so my father is very clear and adamant about he is either getting high, smoking crack cocaine, or he is functioning as a man and as a father. But he is never doing the two at the same time. Because when he is actually smoking crack cocaine, he says to me, I cannot do anything else. He does not eat. He does not drink. He's dehydrated. So there's nothing that he is able to function as when he is high. So to him, that is not a functioning addict. He is very clear that I am non-functioning when I am getting high. So in my family, again, I can only tell you what we do in my family. That does not mean that other families do not consider someone who's able to get high and get up and then leave and go be productive in their day. But in my family, we don't use that term.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that even more. But terminology, Tracy was saying words matter. Yeah.
Like she about to come down with a verdict on Mike.
Yeah. No, but there is a terminology out there functioning.
Mike about to get sentenced right
No,
now.
but there's a functioning alcoholic.
But I do take what she says, but there is terminology out there, functioning alcoholics. Those who are addicted, they do have functioning capabilities.
Yes.
The judge is saying her family doesn't say it. But I never heard of a junkie being such a caregiver of their family, taking care of business, paying the bills. That narrative isn't out there.
That's
So
right.
that's why I attributed the word functioning
Yes.
to that dynamic.
Yes.
Understanding internally your family does not. But that terminology is out there.
Yes.
So with that being said, I'm curious about the importance of having Black people and people with lived experience like yours on the bench and how that makes a difference with sentencing outcomes of Black people versus when they go up against white judges.
Well, clearly I am Black, and so I can only speak from a Black judge's perspective. But what I will say is from my own perspective, I think for me, from day one, it has just meant for me that I listen better. Because I understand that there are good people who make mistakes, and I also understand that there are just some bad people who do bad things. And so I listen on a case-by-case basis. I listen to every single case because it all matters to me. That is what I signed up to do. And so, candidly, because I am from the ghetto, when you are BSing, I know immediately. I know when you are telling the truth. I know when you are straight up lying. And I know when you are just flowering a little bit. But I also know when you truly want to get on a different path. I also know when you want help. And I also know that sometimes, whether you know if you want help or not, that a second or a third or a fourth chance can change your life. Because we have a lot of children that come through my court. And children make mistakes and they don't understand the gravity of their mistakes. And so sometimes you really have to see the potential in humans and children before they can see it themselves. That is what I think my experience has helped me bring to the bench.
Judge Terrinee Gundy is here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Listen, the book is available. The Daughter of a Junkie, a true love story. If you can relate to this, if you have a story that her story reminds you of, 888-742-3345. Rob is on the line in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Welcome
Rob.
to the show, Rob. What up?
Hey, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We're
Excellent.
doing great.
Say hi to the judge. You got a question or comment?
Yes. Good morning, Judge. More or less just a statement. I grew up a son of a junkie, my father, and he left the earth, still battling his demons. But we had a troublesome relationship because my mother, there's only daughters. They only had daughters, and then me. So growing up with him being absent and being in a house full of women, he still, even though he left the household, he tried to be involved because of me, knowing that I was in a house full of women, and him and my mom's relationship was tough. And while he was still dealing with his demons, he was, might use the word functioning, and I do too, because he was still able to try to communicate with me to try to help what he felt I needed, being that he was not there.
Right.
But sometimes him and my mother's relationship would get in the way. But he still tried. He actually, when I started getting in trouble because he was not there, and he then rejected and told my mom, well, you need to send him to me. That didn't really work out because he still had his demons. So I was just physically there, but he wasn't there. So I came back to Buffalo, and because that didn't work out. But there was still communication. Even at the end of his life, he was in like one of them boarding houses and whatnot. Now, by this time, I had my own son, and he made sure to tell me that although his life turned out the way it was, he was extremely proud of me, the way I was raising my son, and not going down the road that he did, being that that's all I seen. So he made sure to let me know that so even with his addictions, I was still able to, because I wanted a father still. I had all my friends had one. And my mother moved us to a Jewish, Italian, and black neighborhood, so it was even more kids with fathers. So it was something that definitely bothered me, and I had to deal with my issues that it started causing, which is why I got in trouble and started going to court and things like that. And, the judge would speak to my mother. She would tell them, the father isn't here. I have no problem with these girls. It's just him. And the judge was just like, you just need to find him something constructive to do.
Yeah.
So she told that to my father. And, he said, that's true. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. They fought. You're not here. And then they put me in football. He said, he needs to play football. It's just something that can. And basically what it was, he gave me what he wasn't going to give me.
Rob, you need to write a memoir too, it sounds like.
For real?
I think you need to write a memoir. At the very least, you need to pick up hers, because there might be some answers for you in the stories, in the journeys that the judge has taken to help you get to a new understanding. But I appreciate your story, Rob. Make sure you get the book, and you're a citizen, brother.
That's way in the morning.
Malcolm's on the line. He's from the Bay. What part of the Bay you from, Malcolm?
Hey, Malcolm.
Hey, Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm not. How you doing? How are you?
Hey.
I'm not from the Bay. I live in the Bay now. I've been here for 7 years.
What
I work
city?
in El Cerrito.
El
and I
Cerrito.
live in Dublin.
Hey,
I work-
listen, here's the
I
thing.
work
If
in
you
El
stay in
Cerrito, I
the
live
Bay
in
for
Dublin.
7 years, you're from the Bay. All right.
Welcome to your new reality.
Yee.
Welcome.
All right, go ahead. You got a question? Go ahead.
I'll take that. Yeah, real quick. Judge Gundy, honor to talk with you. I met you before when I was out in Atlanta with my boy John Singleton before he passed. We were there
Yes,
for
I
the People
love
vs. OJ screening in
John.
Morehouse.
I miss him.
Yeah, so I met you. We all went and hung out afterwards. But a couple of things. I have a friend that's a judge in Oregon, and he was telling me how he tells his law clerks, I guess, some of the students that are law students, and they work with them, and he was telling them, don't ever judge a person by their worst day. And I was wondering, what kind of wisdom do you impart to those law students that come and support you through their schooling? And also, what type of restorative practices do you all engage in through your DUI adjudications that are available? And also, tell Kelton Hill I said hello. That's my brother.
Yes, and thank you for all of that. I speak about John in the book as well. We actually talk a lot for his research about snowfall, so appreciate you bringing up my good friend John. But to answer your question, I think that's excellent advice. You know, no one should be judged on their worst day. They should be judged by the measure of their entire life. Again, for me, I go back to that. My best advice is to listen to people. People do not feel heard. And when people come to court, whether they did something bad or made a mistake, they still like to be heard. They like for you to listen to what drove them to that point. And sometimes you can help them and sometimes you cannot, because we are a criminal justice system. But that does not mean that there are no social services involved at all. And that comes to your point about what kind of restorative programs we have. In Atlanta, we have a program called Restore Atlanta, where you're able to actually go and get rehab if you're interested in that, if you're eligible for that. And so I appreciate your questions. Again, I just think that every case should be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. I don't think that you can group criminal justice into one caveat, because the facts always change and they always matter, which is why you have to listen.
Malcolm, thank you for your call. Dr. Judge. I put doctor on your
Dr. Judge.
I'm a Dr. Judge. Oh, my God.
A Dr. Judge. Judge Doctor.
Medicine too.
Judge Terrinee Gundy is here. Man, big round of applause. I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. You can always come back. I feel like we need to do a series.
Yes, I would
Okay.
love to
Okay,
come back.
you
I will
go
come
on.
back anytime you invite me.
Okay.
And I have just one thing that I want to say.
Yes.
I was very nervous that you were going to make me freestyle, and I'm so happy. I asked my best friend, I said, they're not going to make this for all judges. I mean, all guests, are they? Because I mean, like, I can do a lot of things, but that is something I cannot do.
Wait, hold on.
No.
You can find a beat somewhere.
No. Don't beat on. Don't beat on. You got to beat.
No.
I didn't even bring that up. That tells me it's something you've been wanting to do.
No, I can't.
I didn't even bring that up.
No. I thought I got away.
Get a beat
But
on
Judge
that.
G, how did you know about the freestyling? You was watching the videos?
Yes.
Well, he said stuff.
And my good friend Pinky Cole, she killed it.
Pinky killed
Killed
it.
it. But Pinky's a rapper. I am not.
Yeah, you a wordsmith though.
Yes, you are.
You can put it together.
And
Throw
you
a
be
beat-
dropping them gems.
Yo, John.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I did this to myself.
Yeah, Judge Terrinee Gundy.
Just spit some words of positivity,
just
Judge.
talk
That's
over
all.
it.
You just like doing a
Talk to
spoken
the
word
community.
piece. That's all.
What you want them to know?
Yeah.
Talk to the people.
Sway, I cannot believe you're doing this. I was thanking you.
No, you great. Just tell us what we need to know. What we need to know about growing up with a family member who has an addiction or that's a junkie. What do we need to know about our judicial system? How do we protect ourselves? Talk to us. What do you always want to say to the community, Judge?
Okay.
Look at the camera. Go ahead. Just talk.
Okay. I am the daughter of a junkie, proudly and forever. I'm also a lawyer. I'm also a judge. But I'm first and foremost a mother. Just remember, it's the time of love, the time of light, the time of grace. We all deserve a a little bit more of it all. Duval.
There you go. We gotta hang in over there.
MC Judge TG. Bars. Bars. Not jail bars, but bars.
Y'all make sure you pick up the memoir, The Daughter of a Junkie, a true love story by the one and only Judge Terrinee Gundy. Thank you for coming by today.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
This was so much fun.
Good. Man,
Powerful woman.
We got the plug if we ever get pulled over. All right.
Take advantage of it.
Coming up next, man, we got Big Hit. That's the father of Hit Boy. Every time we come to L.A., Hit Boy always joins us. Judge, you want to hang out?
I would love to.
Hang out with us. D Sharp, stay on the turntables. I know this family dynamic about to spit some bars. All right. Hit Boy up next. 888-742-3345.